Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just open up the file that downloads and it'll automatically pop into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. So take a second to go and grab that and then come back and we will get started. And first things first, we'll go over our canvas dimensions. They are 10 inches by 10 inches at 300 dpi or 3000 by 3000 pixels. The color profile that we're on is the second one on the RGB list. And for our layers today, by the end of the video, we've used about 15 layers, so make sure you have that many available by checking here. If you do not, you can always lower your DPI here to get more. And this is our fun color palette today. So we will just go ahead and get started. The first thing that we will do is set our background color. So let's go to our layer menu, click on this background color layer, and select the first color on the color palette. Next, we will be on layer 1, and the first thing that we're going to do is make the circle outline so that we can draw everything underneath it and make sure everything's going to show the way that we want it rather than adding the circle outline later. So let's go ahead and grab the second color on the top row. Again, on layer 1. We are going to use the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. It can be at pretty much any size that you want. Since we are just going to draw a circular shape, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Click the arrow tool, set it to uniform with snapping turned on, and we are just going to move it over and around until we're right in the center where you see the two yellow lines intersect. That means we're directly in the center. You can also resize your circle if you need to, using one of the corners, and then make sure to recenter it again. But we want a good amount of room showing in the middle, so you don't want your circle to be too small. Then we will drag and drop our color around the circle. Zoom in a little and make sure that there's no gap here that's showing our dark blue in the background. If there is, your threshold might not be high enough, so then you can just undo the drop of color, do it again, and hold your pen down while you're doing it, and then you can drag your threshold to the right to increase it and hopefully fill in that little gap if there is one. And we will just move right along. So now everything that we're going to draw is going to be underneath this layer. This will be our topmost layer. So let's add a new layer on our layer menu, drag it below our circle layer, and we are just going to kind of draw some shapes in the background until we get to our dolphins. So let's first grab the third color on the top row, same monoline brush, maybe set to 50% now. And essentially, this is going to be my backmost little shape, so I'm going to start pretty high up on the circle here, but I'm going to start outside on the side of the screen, and then I'm just going to kind of draw some wavy lines like this in the background, and then fill it in. If it doesn't fill in correctly, you just might need to make sure that your lines are going off the edge of the screen on each side, and then try filling it in again. Next, we will add another new layer. Select the fourth color on the top row, and we're going to do the same thing but a little bit lower this time, maybe about like that. Make sure you go off the edge on each side, and then fill that in. Next, add another new layer and grab the fifth color on the top row, and this time we're going to draw like 3 different little sections of kelp looking objects. So same thing, we're going to start on the outside of the screen, maybe right in this corner here. And I'm just going to draw up and then draw some little kind of shape like this. And then I went off the screen on the bottom, fill that in. do the same thing maybe over here. Kind of like this. Fill that in. And then maybe I'll make one more small one over here and fill that in as well. I am going to move mine a little bit. They're kind of like off to the right side a little bit more. I'm going to click my arrow tool and maybe use this green bar and rotate it a little and then just kind of drag them to be maybe more so right here. Looks good. And we will just get right into our dolphins now. So let's add a new layer. Grab the first color on the second row. And we'll draw our entire shape with this color, and then we'll go back in and fill in with different colors to get our kind of 3-colored dolphins. Feel free to use any colors that you wish for this, but essentially we're just going to start in this kind of upper area here to make our first dolphin. I am just going to draw an oval shape like this, hold it down. Going to click edit shape and maybe make the whole thing just a little bit smaller. And then kind of reposition it here. It's kind of at an angle here, but we can definitely change the angles and stuff of our dolphin later, so don't worry about that too much right now. Go ahead and fill that in. Then on the very front here, I am just going to make its beak. So I am going to just kind of make another oval shape sticking off of it. Click edit shape, it got a little too long. It should be a little shorter and fatter, kind of like this. And then I'm just going to, on the bottom, kind of smooth out the transition there. The top though, I'm going to leave kind of sharp. Okay, next we're going to start the tail. So the tail is going to start coming off the back of the dolphin. So here's its back. So we'll kind of start right here and make a kind of slightly curved line going out and off the body. But right here is good. Kind of adjust your line if you need to make it blend in nicely with our body. And then we'll go down a little further and kind of do the same thing. A slightly curved line going towards our other one and getting smaller as we get towards the other one as well. So again, adjust your line if you need to. Then from this point, we will make a curved line going down and this way. Again, adjust your line if you need to. And then from this point, we'll also make a curved line like this, maybe a little bit bigger than our other one. Then we will make a line to connect them, hold it down. Again, edit shape to adjust and make sure they meet up nicely with each other. And then we can go ahead and fill that in. Lastly, we'll add some fins on the top and bottom. So starting right about in the middle of his back, make a line going up and out at a slight curve, hold that down, and then make a line going back at a bigger curve like this. Go ahead and click edit shape if you need to line them up better or make any adjustments and then fill it in. And then we'll do a similar thing on the bottom, just a little bit smaller. So we'll just make a small kind of curved line going out and then a bigger curved line going back. And then fill them in. And that is the main shape of our dolphin. If you need to make any adjustments, now is the time to do so. Otherwise, we will move along and we will first go to our layer menu and set this layer to alpha lock. So click on it and turn on alpha lock. And then we will grab the orange color, the second one on the second row. And the first thing that we will do is start, and we're just going to kind of cover the top half of the dolphin with this. But we want to kind of use the same smart shapes to follow a similar line and make them nice and smooth. So let's first start on the beak and let's just draw a line through the top half of the beak. Hold it down until it turns into a perfectly straight line. Kind of fill that in there. From this point, we'll just make a slightly curved line going down into its tail. Again, edit shape to make any adjustments. About like that. And then we'll kind of connect that and fill in this top half. Mine way overfilled, so I'm going to have to undo it and then again drag my color, hold it down, and then slide to the left this time to get it to only fill in that top part. And next, let's switch our colors now to the pink color, the third one on the second row. And this we will use for our fins. So let's first start with this back fin. So just make a nice kind of straight line where the fin meets the body. And then we will fill in the rest of that. And then a similar thing here. We'll just kind of start at the end and just slowly work our way towards the body to make a nice crisp line there. If you overdid it at all, you can always go back and select your yellow color again and kind of smooth this out on that end, or you can grab the pink again and smooth it out on this end, whichever works better. And then we'll do the same thing with the top fin here. And then lastly, we'll add another fin in this pink color on top of our entire shape. So let's first just make a kind of vertical curved line right here in this yellow. And then we'll just make a curved line here and a curved line going back. And then fill that in. And then next we will grab the fourth color on the second row to make our eyeball. Let's drop the size of our brush down to maybe 20%. And I am just going to start a little bit back from the nose right on this where the two colors meet, and I am just going to make a small oval like this and then fill that in. Next, grab the fifth color on the top row, the white, and just make a small dot on the front of our eyeball. So that completes our dolphin. So now we have our dolphin, it's all on this one layer here, and now this is where, like I said, if you want to adjust the angle of it at all, you can. You can select the arrow tool, you can use the little green bar here to adjust the angle, you can resize it if you need to. I'm going to leave mine about right here, and then I'm going to make a duplicate of this layer. So go to the layer menu, slide left on this layer, click duplicate, click the arrow tool again, and I am going to click flip horizontal. And then I'm going to move this one down to be down here and adjust the angle again, like so. And lastly, the last layer that we're going to add is a layer of bubbles. So let's add a new layer above our dolphins. Grab the sixth color on the second row. Same monoline brush at like 20% now. And we are just going to draw some bubble shapes. Hold your pen down, touch your finger to the screen, fill them in, and we'll just kind of make them in varying sizes. And I'm just going to kind of make them in little clumps. So that one's kind of like in front of that dolphin, so maybe I'll make another one kind of in front of this dolphin. And then we'll just make a few other random ones kind of just around. about like that. And now we will do all of the shadows and paper texture effects. So first, let's go ahead and snap these two dolphins to be on the same layer if you like their size and where they're placed. So on the layer menu, I'm just going to snap those two layers together. Next though, we will go back to our first layer that we drew. So this blue background, like wavy layer. Slide left on it, make a duplicate. On the bottom one that we have now, click on it, turn on alpha lock. Grab the first color on the last row, this dark gray. Go back to our layer menu, this one that we on the bottom that we turned alpha lock on for. Click on it and click fill layer now. Click on it again, turn alpha lock off. Click on the N on this layer, drag it up to multiply. And then click on the wand icon, Gaussian Blur, and slide that up to maybe 20 to 25% to give a nice little shadow behind it like that. And we're just going to do that same thing for each layer. So kind of whatever flow works best for you. So now I'll make a duplicate of this next layer, the one on the bottom, click on it, turn on alpha lock. We already have our dark gray selected, so that's nice. So we'll just click on this now, fill layer, click on it again, turn alpha lock back off, click on the N, drag it up to multiply, and then wand icon, Gaussian blur, 20 to 25%. And next, this kelp-like layer, duplicate, bottom one, alpha lock, fill, on alpha lock, multiply, Gaussian blur, and 20 to 25%. Next is our dolphins. This one's already set to alpha lock right now, but double check that yours is. And then go ahead and click fill layer for the gray. On alpha lock, multiply, Gaussian blur, maybe just 20% for these. The 25 is a little too big of a shadow. And then the bubbles, lastly, we'll give them a shadow as well. So bottom one, alpha lock, fill layer with the gray, on alpha lock, multiply, Gaussian blur, maybe 10 to 15 to give them a nice little shadow because they're so small. Anything bigger kind of just makes a big blur behind them, and we don't want that. And we are even going to do the same thing with this circle outline layer. So make a duplicate of it. The bottom one, alpha lock, fill layer, on alpha lock, multiply, and Gaussian blur to maybe 25% there to give a nice shadow around our whole picture to make it look like that whole picture is kind of sunken in. And then lastly, we will add a layer right above our bubble layer below our two circle layers. This layer we are going to click on the N, and this time we are going to set it to overlay. We are going to grab the second color on the last row, and we are going to switch our brush to this oil pastel brush under the sketching category. We are going to set that to like 60%, and we are just going to very lightly drag this all over our picture without picking our brush up at all in order to just get one clean layer of this. But this adds a very nice paper-like texture. Keep going until you like the way that it is looking and how thick our texture is. About like that, but this gives just a nice paper texture to our entire picture all at once rather than having to individually add it to each layer. With the overlay set, it actually just makes it so that we have a lighter version of each color. So there's a lighter pink on the pink, a lighter yellow on the yellow, a lighter blue on the blue, rather than again having to add a lighter blue to this blue layer and then do another layer with a lighter orange color and add it there. It just does it all at once for every color on the screen. But that is it for our video today, so I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching!